Hi, I'm Liz with Liz's Crafts, and today I'm going to show you how I made this lantern out of boxes and Jenga blocks. So I took some of the Jenga blocks, and these are the original Jenga block sizes. I got it from a neighbor. And I'm going to take 4 and glue them end to end. And I'm going to do 8 of these. And I'm using the wood glue from Dollar Tree. I just put it in this Elmer's glue container here because it has a smaller tip to it. And I find it disperses the right amount of glue. And then I have an essential oil, Simply Earth essential oil box. I used to get a monthly subscription. So I'm going to use 2 of these boxes. I'm going to cut the top off of each of them. So if you have a subscription to Simply Earth and you have a bunch of these boxes, then you can make this lantern. Oh, not, yeah, lantern, I guess it is. And then I have another video using the same boxes too, where I make like a tier tray or a storage bin. And now I have this piece of wood here that my husband had cut up a long time ago. And this that I'm screwing into it is one of those balls that come on the curtain rods. My daughter was getting rid of them, and I told her, I said, well, give them to me. I can use them for a craft. So I did drill a hole in the wood piece, but it wasn't quite big enough, so I had to drill a bigger hole. And then I just screwed the ball into it, and it doesn't go all the way through the wood piece. So that's good. I do take it back off after I screw it in because I want to paint it later on. But if it's on there really good, I didn't have to use any glue or anything. And it's a glass ball and has like brown on it. So now what I'm going to do is take 2 sets of the 4 Jenga blocks, and I'm going to glue them together kind of in an, I don't know, an L shape maybe. But one on top of the other, but not laying flat. And these are going to be the pillars or the legs, whatever you want to call it, for the lantern. It's not a lantern. What are they called? I don't know. But anyway, I'm just measuring where the box goes onto the wood pieces because I want to decorate the wood pieces, and I don't want to put the decoration down in the box because then it'll keep it from being glued down all the way. And I'm going to use hot glue to put the bling on. And this bling I got from Amazon. So I'm just going to put the bling in between the lines that I made. And I'm decorating the skinny side of the Jenga blocks. So there'll be 3 sides with the bling on it. On each set of blocks. So you'll have 4 sets of blocks. I just lay my bling on top of it and decide, you know, how much I need to cut off, and then I hot glue it on, putting the hot glue on the Jenga blocks, and then putting my bling down. I do 2 lines of the glue. We have one more side to put the bling on. And this bling is, it has black on the underside, and it's kind of like the blingy stuff you get at the Dollar Tree, only this is much longer, and it's in a strip of 3 across. But I did get it at Amazon. After this project, though, I don't have a whole lot left. I might have to get some more. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting glue on the parts that are going to stick to the box bottom there. And I'm using the wood glue on the wider sides and the bottom, and then I'm going to put, where I'm putting hot glue right there, I shouldn't have put hot glue. You don't put anything there. So I later have to scrape it off. And then you want to figure out how you want your 4 pieces there to go in the corners, like which way you want them facing. I did put one of mine on wrong, but it had to stay, so I guess it is what it is, unfortunately. And then I clamp it to the sides there just to give it a little more support and to make it stick a little better. These are those large clamps you get 2 in a pack from the Dollar Tree. So these 2 I put on correctly. So I put the wood glue on the wider sides of the Jenga blocks and on the bottom. And then the skinny side of the Jenga block there's only one, I put hot glue. That way the hot glue will grab it while the wood glue sets up. So you want to be careful and make sure that you put them all going the right direction. Those 2 are correct. They're the way I want them to be. I think this one is the one I put on wrong. But I didn't take it off and redo it. I just left it. I don't think anybody else would probably notice it. But see right there, I should have turned it the other way. So it was facing the opposite of what it's facing now. I don't know. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. And now what I'm going to do is put my bling on the top and the bottom of the top box. And I'm going to go all the way around the box before I cut it. And I do 2 lines of the glue. And I just lightly press it down with my fingers. You could use a silicone spatula or something to make it lay down. And once I get back to where I started, I go ahead and cut it off. And then I make sure that little piece there is laying down. Which I probably could have cut that piece off, but I went ahead and left it on and just laid it over. It was fine. And now I'm going to do the same thing to the bottom edge. When I had this subscription to Simply Earth, and I had it for about a year and a half, so I ended up with like 17 of these boxes. And so they were nice boxes, and I really didn't want to throw them away because I guess, let's face it, I'm a pack rat. Hopefully I'm not a hoarder yet. I hope not. I've been watching Hoarders, so I hope I'm not a hoarder. It could get that way, I guess. But anyway, I digress. I felt like, you know, I need to do something with some of these boxes. So I decided to make this, and I think it turned out pretty good. Let me know what you think in the comments. I think I probably could have decorated it a little more, maybe in between the bling where it is there, you know, do some swirls of hot glue and decorate the top and all like that more than I did. And if I ever make this again, I think I will do that. I just think it'll make it look a little bit better, have more of a design to it. Okay, so I got the top and the bottom of this, which is going to be the top of the lantern. And now I'm going to do the part where we put, and you can see there that those two, I don't know what you want to call them, columns or whatever, are not the same. They're not the way they should be. One of them is in the wrong position. The one on the right, I believe. So I did the top and the bottom of the bottom box. And now this is the top box, and I want to find the center. So I'm just using my ruler there and going from corner to corner, making an X to find the center. And that's where I'm going to put my wood piece. Now, I think if I ever make this again, I'm not going to paint the wood piece. So if that is the case, then I would leave it off and put it on last. But in this case, I am going to paint it, so I'm going to go ahead and put it on. And now I have Apple Barrel acrylic black paint, and I'm going to use a dauber, a sponge dauber, and I am going to paint, this is the lid, the top part, and I'm going to paint the whole thing. The inside, the outside, the sides, the top, everything. And you want to make sure you get it in the corners. You get it to where, you know, the box comes together. You want it all to be black. I find that using the sponge daubers, you can get pretty much full coverage with your paint with one coat. If you use a brush, you're going to get brush streaks and all, and you'll probably have to do 2 coats. So that is another reason why I like to use the sponge daubers. So there I've done the inside, and now I'm going to do the outside edges. And you want to get quite a bit of paint on it as you're going over the bling, because you want to get all the way down to the box. So you do have to get quite a bit of paint on your dauber. And sometimes if you use the side of the dauber, you can do it a little bit better, because the paint will get there and then you won't be using it and it'll build up. So if you put it on its side, then you can get a little bit more paint on what you're painting. Now I got all the sides. Now I'm going to do the top. I'm starting with the wood piece. And really, even if you are going to paint this, you might want to paint it first before you glue it on, because it is a little hard to get the sides. I just kind of used the side of the dauber there and then kind of rolled it. And that seemed to work pretty well. You want to make sure you get in the cracks. Had a little something on there, probably a cat hair or something. Hard to say. My kitties live in the house. They don't live in the other building where my craft room is, but you know how cat fur gets on your clothing and then it gets on everything you touch. It just seems to be everywhere. So again, I was just using the black acrylic apple barrel paint and a sponge dauber. And right here is where the holes are. There's 4 holes on the top of the box there, and I was just trying to get paint down in there. I think if I ever do this again, I'll put like masking tape or something over it so I don't have to get down in the holes. Okay, so now I'm using this metallic paint. It's copper. I got it from Michael's, and I'm using a smaller sponge dauber with this, and I'm trying to get most of the paint off before I start doing this. So I'm going on the bling first, and I probably had a little bit too much still on my dauber, but you know, just go with it. If you get too much, you can always go back in with your black acrylic paint. So I go over the bling first, and then I go down in the center of the box, the sides. That way a little bit more of the paint is off once you go down in the center. Because it's smooth, then more paint gets on there than it does on the bling. I hear my kitties. I don't know what they're doing. Talking to each other, I guess. So yeah, this is copper metallic paint. And I think it's Deco Art from Michael's. I had gotten silver, gold, copper, and rose gold. And I had ordered it online. There I go down in the middle before I do the other side of the bling. Then I change my mind, go to the bling. So just pounce it up and down, up and down. Now I do not put this on the inside, I just put it on the outside. So just the sides and then the top. I don't worry about the inside, I just leave it black. And this is where it was a little difficult to get around the edges of the wood round there. It just seemed like it was putting a little bit more paint on than I wanted. However, like I said, you can go back in and put some more black where you have the copper that you don't want as much. I didn't. I just left it as is. And for this part, I probably should have switched to the larger sponge dauber. But I really didn't think about it. My hand was getting tired. I had to switch hands. But I'm not too good with my left hand, so I had to switch back pretty quickly. I see one of my kitties in the window. He's looking out the window. And on this part too, you know, if you put some texture on it, it probably would have looked better. So if I make this again, like I said, I'll use some hot glue, I think it is, and just make some designs or something on it. And that way it'll look a little bit better than just being plain like this. I mean, I really like the color copper, so I don't mind it too much. I just think had the vision in my mind when I was making this that, you know, it would be less coppery than it was. But like I said, without the texture on it, there ended up being more of the copper paint than the black. And then if I do this again, I think I'll just leave the wood round as is and not paint it at all. So I'm just touching up the sides. And as you can see, the inside there, I just left black. Not going to worry about it. And here's the bottom portion. So I'm going to paint it all black. And I'm using a bigger dauber and just daubing it up and down, making sure I get a lot of the paint on when I put it over the bling, because you do want it to go all the way down to the wood on that. So I got all that painted, and this is the bottom. So I am putting the copper on the bottom, but you don't have to. You could leave it black. I probably should have, but I decided to go ahead and paint it. And I'm using the bigger dauber, so it does go a little bit faster. Now you can, like if you want it more full coverage, you can just do the dauber like you would a paintbrush and then daub it up and down for the texture if you want. So now I'm going to do the rest of it, getting on the bling first. And again, I don't do the inside, I leave it black. But I do the poles, the legs, I mean, I don't know what you would call it. Now I did do the bling on all the, I'm going to call them legs, on all the legs. However, I did not do all the wood. Like if it's the wood from the inside, I don't put the copper on it. But I do it on all the bling. Anyway, you'll see it in a few minutes. Now I got black on my sponge dauber. And actually that one part right there that I'm daubing, it was still wet with the black paint. I should have let it dry better. And that's why the copper doesn't want to stick to it. And that's why I ended up with black paint on my dauber. And you don't have to go all the way up with the copper on the legs. You can stop at where the bling stops, because you're going to put the top piece on and you're not going to see it. I think I went ahead and went all the way up though. So either way, but if you don't want to waste your paint, you don't have to go up all the way. And here's the top part. It's already dry, and I'm putting the ball on top. Again, this is one of those balls that go into the curtain rods. My daughter had given me these, so I got this one and another one. And you just screw it in. And it doesn't go all the way through the wood, so it's not going to come through your box either. So there it is, and it's kind of brown. And now I went ahead and got my copper on all my pieces, and I'm going to add the top. I was going to use some hot glue on this, but I ended up changing my mind, and I just used the wood glue. I actually had previously put the lid, glued the lid on, and then realized that I didn't have it right. So I took it off, and I had a hard time getting it off, and then I'm redoing it now. So the boxes, you know, they have two fold over edges, and I wanted my fold over edges to be on the same side. And when I first put the lid on, or the top on, I had it opposite of what it should have been. And I had a heck of a time getting it back off because of the hot glue. So this second time I put it on, I didn't use hot glue. I just used the wood glue. And now I'm just touching up where I might have gotten some of my copper paint off. But here it is, and let me know what you think. I think it turned out pretty good. And I think I might make this again, but do some things a little bit different. Again, I'm Liz with Liz's Crafts, and if you like what you see, give me a thumbs up And if you want to subscribe, do so. But if you don't, that's okay too. And I'll see you later.